Chocobo GP is finally here as the newest spin-off in the Final Fantasy franchise. Today, let's see if Square Enix can do what few others could and carve out a space for themselves in the genre. As a pseudo-sequel and reboot at the same time, Chocobo GP is a bit of an odd bird. The previous attempted Chocobo-themed kart racer only had middling reviews from what I remember as a kid, and I was curious to see if this one could race into first place 20 years later. So, first off, let's talk some positives. The characters here are all well realized in their more cutesy forms. The designs are pretty charming across the board too. I especially like the designs of the summons like Rama, who rides around on a scooter for elderly people, and Shiva being a haughty girl who's always on her phone. Of course, this extends to the other characters too. Fan favorites like Vivi, Steiner, and Terra are all here to round out the base roster. Others like Cloud and Squall are also available to be unlocked later. There's also a fun return of Bahamut, who isn't playable much to the fun of the story mode. Speaking of the story mode, it's quite entertaining to see the interactions between the characters. It's chock full of references to the greater Final Fantasy universe for fans to pick up on, as well as a few references to the original game. The whole thing is extremely lighthearted and self-aware, and it only took about 2 hours to clear. While I was a bit disappointed with how short it was, given how fun the interactions were, I definitely wouldn't want to see this mode extended for no reason. When it wrapped up, I had unlocked a decent amount of things, and there were plenty of side missions left over for subsequent challenges. Not to mention, you unlock a hard mode too. Outside of the story mode lies the core of the game. It features all the standard modes you would expect from a kart racer: time trial, series, custom, multiplayer, and online. Doing any mode awards various progression points which are used to unlock various things like characters, cosmetic, and vehicles. It gives plenty of reasons to keep playing on paper, but your interest might vary. Overall, the general game here is just okay. While Mario Kart is the standard, and only a handful of games have stood out with their own ideas enough to be notable, like the Sonic Racing series, I was really hoping after all of this time, Chocobo GP would have enough inspiration to do something unique, yet it didn't. It doesn't offend in any way, but it doesn't stand out either. The overall feeling of the game is just a bit looser than Mario Kart, but it lacks the sense of speed that makes things like Sonic fun. It has the usual palette of pickups and sliding to get a boost as well, but that's about it. Each character does have their own unique special and stats, but it's just a tiny thing when the whole experience just doesn't really impress. It's a shame really, because there is some charm here, but I can't say it's all that compelling. The races feel like pure chaos thanks to the amount of pickups and how small the tracks are, but stuff flying all over the place can be fun or frustrating depending who you are. I admittedly found some enjoyment in the game's racing, even if it does feel inferior to its contemporaries. Speaking of tracks, this is also an area of disappointment. With only 9 different track designs, it feels like a massive missed opportunity. The returning tracks and references to other games is nice, as expected, but with a small amount, I can't really praise it. I should mention that most tracks have some kind of variant like long, short, or hyperspeed, which makes the course count technically around 21, but also technically not. And lastly, perhaps the biggest issue with the game is its online nonsense. The game for some reason features a battle pass and microtransactions, despite it being a full-priced game. Even worse, it locks away a very desirable character like Cloud to it. It's a really smelly, grindy decision that doesn't seem to justify itself in the slightest. Not to mention, there are no details for how the game will be supported in the future. Characters, tracks, vehicles, etc. We have no idea. It's a really sour cap on a game that was only okay at best. So, do I recommend Chocobo GP? No, not at all. As a full-price game with microtransactions, definitely no. As a game without looking at that side of things, no. With a small roster of tracks and only so-so gameplay, this is best left as a on-sale purchase if you really are that curious about it. Despite the charming nature of the characters and references for Final Fantasy fans, I just don't think there's enough here to justify the purchase of a full-price game with an online battle pass and microtransactions. Whatever potential this game had, I think it was soundly lapped by the poor decision to increase profitability over making a unique and fun kart racer. But yeah, that's my review for Chocobo GP. Be sure to leave a comment, like, or even check out the other videos or even my Twitch page if you have the time. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you again.